Testing, testing. Okay, perfect. Okay, we're live. Uh, whew, seems to be getting really good at that. Hey, my name's Mark Lobbit. Welcome to back to the stream. We're going to be. I wanted to check back on more of the stuff with Sony. Um, Sony, and them getting rid of physical media and how much that's been a uh, screw up on their part. I want to cover some news stories. I watched most of these videos already, but I want to make a point, a certain point about something that I don't think it's been talked enough. And I just want to use these videos as a backdrop, right? Because for the most part, most people are probably may have already seen these videos, but let's just as a backdrop, let's just go over, just to get a sense of like where all this, where we're at in that situation, in terms of like Sony just doing full speed ahead and getting rid of their physical copies, and what that means for like physical media, um, video game media in general. Um, I also would like to. Um, I posted something on my Blue Sky earlier today. The electronic. Sorry, right there. Like, I'm blanking on their name for some reason right now. The EWF, the Electronic Frontier Foundation, actually has an article on video game ownership that they posted, and I already like linked it to my Blue Sky. But let me just pull it up and stick it inside the chats here, just for quick reference. And uh, I'm glad that they already have caught wind of the issue and how problematic it is. So I would go take a look at that as well. Because I always like it when a bunch of people smarter than me speaks about an issue and how important it is uh, to the average consumer. What we're talking about generally is consumer rights mostly. So it's also a pretty important topic, right? Um, yeah. So with now that we gotten that out the way, let's dive into it.
Hello, One Take Schreier here. Sony's recent decision to kill PlayStation discs starting in January of 2028 has led to a whole lot of controversy for very good reasons. It's also the natural endpoint of a battle that the video game industry has been fighting since the early 2000s. This decision, in many ways, has been almost 3 decades in the making. So let's go back in time, shall we? It's story time. Let's say it's, I don't know, 2005. The Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 and Wii are all about to come out. Now, back then, video games were sold physically. There was no such thing as digital game sales unless you were playing games on PC, when occasionally at this point you would be able to get games on um, Steam was just kind of kicking off, and it was kind of like in the early days of digital game sales. But for the most part, you would buy your games, and especially your console games, at your local store, your local Best Buy, your local Target, your local GameStop. And what these stores did, particularly GameStop, was that they, in addition to selling new games, they would offer you the opportunity to trade in your games, and then they would turn around and sell them as used. And a lot of people took advantage of this for a number of reasons. One is that a ton of people were playing the annual sports games every year, and one way to get that price down a little bit for the newest Madden, for Madden 06, was to bring in your copy of Madden 05 and maybe get, I don't know, $15 back for it, and therefore contribute that to buying the latest one. But also, people kind of used GameStop as almost as a rental service, where you would buy a game and you would play through it, and then you would trade it back in. Maybe you'd get way less than what you actually paid for it, but still, it helped knock the price off and helped make $60 games more affordable. This was a problem for game publishers, because if you were EA or Ubisoft or Activision or Take-Two, you would look at this and see a game that...
I wanted to finish, but there was also the concept of like a bargain bin. Actually, no, he actually goes over that.
You made, that you funded, that you put money into, getting sold once for $60, and you only benefit from that one sale, and then circulating in the market over and over again, potentially being sold dozens more times, that same game, as it gets traded in and back and in and back, without you seeing anything from it. GameStop is the biggest profit generator from those sales. So the companies all started thinking, hey, how can we put an end to this practice? Now, remember, this was a point when around this era, around the late 2000s, there was this kind of rise of the Xbox Live Arcade, and we were starting to see the beginnings of downloadable games and downloadable indie games in particular. But this was not an era where you could just buy a digital copy of, I don't know, Arkham Asylum or the new Madden or Dragon Age Origins. You had to go buy physically, and therefore these companies had this kind of this frenemy in GameStop, where GameStop was both they relied upon GameStop to actually get their games, distribute their games to customers, but at the same time they hated this used game market. Something that EA did was this kind of ridiculously titled plan, this service that they called Project $10, that was speared by CEO of EA at the time, John Riccitiello. And the idea of Project $10 was that they would couple their new games with some sort of add-on in the form of a download code, whether it was an online pass or DLC or something like that. I'll get into some specific examples in a second. But if you didn't have the code, you had to pay $10 for it. In other words, if you went to the store and you bought a new copy of the game, you would get a code with it, no problem. You download your thing, you connect to the internet, and you're all set. But if you buy the game from the store and it's used, chances are someone's already used that online code, and so you have to go on EA Store and pay $10 for it, which will help juice up the profits for EA and make it so they actually benefit from at least a subset of the people who are buying used games rather than new ones. Because remember, EA doesn't see any profit when GameStop, if I trade in my game at GameStop and then GameStop resells it, they don't have to pay a dime to EA. That is pure profit for them. If they paid me $20 for a game and then they turn around and sell it for $50, that is a $30 margin. That is a ridiculous profit for them, and that's how GameStop was able to stay in business and become so ubiquitous back in the 2000s and early 2010s or so.
So I didn't even know about that program. I just knew about the bargain bin. Personally participated in the market where in the market that you're talking about is the bargain bin, right? Where people would give back their games to GameStop, and then I would go into the GameStop one day, and then I wouldn't buy the game like full price. I would go into the GameStop one day, and if I saw a cool game I really liked at an insanely discounted price, that I would pick it up. And the company that made the game didn't see any of the profit from me picking it up at the bargain bin, you know. So yeah. But I didn't know about that program.
For the meme stock era, it's a whole different story. So EA did this. Dragon Age Origins is a good example. That was 2009, and that had a DLC called The Stone Prisoner that you could go and recruit this character named Shale. Had an entire new character and quest with it. That was free DLC if you bought a new copy of the game. Otherwise, you had to pay $10 for it. There were other examples too. I mean, EA did it a lot. They did it for online passes. I'm just pulling up a couple of examples here, but there was like Battlefield 3 had what was called an online pass, and in order to play any sort of multiplayer, you had to connect to the internet using one of these codes. Other companies too. Batman Arkham City, which came out in 2011, had codes for what they called an online VIP pass, which gave you access to Catwoman as a playable character in the game. And in order to have access to Catwoman, you had to use this online code or go and pay $10 for it. This was also a time, by the way, when we started to see the rise of, it all started with the kind of infamous horse armor, where Bethesda decided to start selling cosmetic armor for your horse in the Elder Scrolls Oblivion, and that became this kind of like this quintessential example of how ridiculous downloadable content was, and a lot of other companies started following suit, selling you all sorts of what the games industry calls skins, which are essentially costumes or new outfits or new aesthetics and cosmetics for your characters. And so you could log into the Xbox Live Store or the PlayStation Store and just download and buy a lot of these different cosmetics at the time. So yeah, it wasn't just.
So I want to add on to that. I know for a fact, right? I can't prove this, but I know. I won't say it's a fact because I can't prove it. Of course, I can't prove it, but I know definitely, right? This marketing tactic that they had with video games, pre-order bonuses, right? This is where pre-order bonuses came from. There wasn't always pre-order bonuses. When you bought the game, you bought the game, right? In the beginning. I am 100% sure that's why publishers. Yeah, but I don't need proof for it because it's like blatantly freaking obvious. Why else would you have a pre-order bonus, right? I am 100% sure, right? The whole reason why pre-order bonuses exist is so that it was to incentivize the consumer to buy the games they want. Right, that's what I think pre-order bonuses were for, right? Like for no other reason, right? It was just a good incentive because if you didn't buy the game day one, then you couldn't get the pre-order bonuses when you bought it at the bargain bin, and so that's why because I explicitly remember there were games that that I was just completely turned off from. Because I saw it as like I would see a game and I'd be like it would come with a pre-order bonus and it would be like something that would have already come naturally in the game before pre-order bonuses, right? And so it just seemed like on the surface it just seemed like your experience was actually harder getting into the game because you didn't get the pre-order bonuses. You didn't get something that other people did when you bought it with $60. I thought that was scummy. Yeah, but I think it's been so long that people have forgotten like part of the reason why as time went on, they always push pre-order bonuses, right? Nowadays it's just a cash grab, but sorry, after physical media is gone, they're just gonna keep it because they just want to make money. You know what I'm saying? For the most part.
Ubisoft was well known for doing it as well. Sony did it. There were games like SOCOM and a bunch of EA Sports games were doing it. Ubisoft did it with Assassin's Creed games. It was pretty much all the major publishers. Rock Band had like various songs that were attached to online codes. So the idea was like, hey, we are going to
exactly rock. Yeah, he's right about that. Like you couldn't trigger memory. Like I think originally I bought like the first no, not Rock Band. Before it was Rock Band, it was Guitar Hero. Because Guitar Hero didn't do that. the Guitar Hero didn't do that. But okay, so never mind. I was confusing two games.
To get something out of this used game system. But of course, that led to some pressure from the retailers, from GameStop and others. And eventually, these companies were kind of forced to abandon that practice. But in the early 2010s, something else happened, which is that these game companies started talking about what would become their next generation of video game consoles. Now, this was a time when maybe this online pass, maybe this Project $10 initiative wasn't working so well, wasn't really, it was pissing off a lot of customers. A lot of people wound up complaining to customer support when they bought a new game and like the code didn't work, or slash they bought a new game and the code didn't work. It was a whole big controversial thing and made headlines constantly back then and led to a lot of complaints, including from the retailers. So that initiative, I think, was not super successful for these companies. So here's what's happening. So cut to 2011, 2012. PlayStation and Xbox are both preparing for the launch of their new consoles. The Wii and the Wii U are kind of on a different cycle at this point. The Wii U comes out in 2012. That's the flop of that console is a whole nother story. But let's focus on PlayStation and Xbox, because those were kind of the two direct competitors and the two that were working more closely, I would say, with the big AAA third-party games and publishers. So PlayStation and Xbox say, hey, this used game thing is a problem. What are we going to do about this? And both of them, in various capacities, begin exploring this idea of some sort of DRM, some sort of protection to make used games less of a thing on their consoles. PlayStation winds up abandoning that, and Xbox winds up moving forward with it in some capacity or another. And what happens is, in May of 2013, Microsoft announces the Xbox One. Don Matrick, who's running Xbox at the time, does this whole big presentation. It is one of the most tone-deaf video game company events that has ever been held. It mostly focuses on the entertainment aspects of the Xbox One. They talk about how it's going to be this living room entertainment box that lets you watch Netflix and do all these other things, multitask using what's called Xbox, I think it was called Xbox Snap, to like allow your thing to you could, it came with a built-in Kinect, which was their full body motion control device, and you could gesture to like snap things on the interface. So it was actually kind of cool. But yeah, the focus was entertainment, and it even came with 2 HDMI ports, not just one. There was an HDMI in and an HDMI out port, because the idea was that you would be passing your other kind of cable, your other entertainment devices through this thing, and using the Xbox as they called it all-in-one. One of the reasons it was called Xbox One, it was because it was an all-in-one entertainment device, was the idea. That conference, they like barely even mentioned video games. It got a lot of flack. But more importantly, at the time, it was very confusing, and they had a lot of mixed messaging about how it would actually handle being connected to the internet, checking your games, seeing if you could actually use used games on the thing, or if it had to have some sort of digital license or handshake with the servers in order to actually get your games working. And the executives at the time gave these interviews that were confusing. At one point, Phil Harrison, top executive at Xbox at the time, he gave once every 24 hours on the device. Then Xbox had to send over a statement to another gaming website, a potential example, and the decisions have not yet been finalized. It was a debacle. It was a mess, but it became very clear and weeks that followed that they were using used games in some way. PlayStation, at the time, it was heavily rumored that they were considering something similar, so it was a bit of a surprise and a big shot against their biggest competitor when at E3 2013 they did their big press conference for the PlayStation 4, and they showed a video of 2 executives at the time, Shuei Yoshida and Adam Boyes, and one of them said, "This is how you share games on PlayStation," and simply handed a disc between themselves, just handed a disc one guy to the other. This, of course, became a flashpoint and brought up quite a bit recently, because it is no longer relevant now that PlayStation is killing discs. But at the time, it was seen as Sony being customer first and making something that people really wanted, and people called it one of the craziest, one of the most mic drop moments in E3's history. And just a few weeks after E3, Don Matrick, the CEO of Xbox, stepped down, and Xbox announced that it was backtracking, and the Xbox One, instead of being this weird online connected device that had some sort of used game protection, would not let you use used games, now it would be a traditional console. But of course, these companies were still trying to figure out how to solve this problem.
They really shot themselves. I keep hearing that example over and over again, and on the internet, people are reminding people. I saw a skit about it. They really shot themselves in the foot. People get it.
And one of the ways that they solved it was essentially through no kind of it wasn't a tactic, it wasn't a strategy, it wasn't something they actively did, it was almost an accident. It was just the industry shifting, because what began to happen throughout that generation, and especially into this current generation, is people started buying games digitally. Everybody's internet got better. It became much easier to just go on the store. The stores really got improved quite a bit. If you ever look at UIs for the PlayStation Store or the Xbox Store in the 2000s versus what they became in the 2010s, it's leaps and bounds different. They added all sorts of features. They started putting big discounts on their digital stores to try to draw people in digitally. They started making bigger hard drives, and these consoles came with bigger built-in hard drives, especially later on with the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series era. And we got to this point where customer habits really changed, and people just found it more convenient, and people preferred buying games digitally. They didn't have to go to the stores. Of course, some people still wanted to save money and buy games for cheaper by doing the whole trading in thing, but it became less and less relevant. And at the same time, GameStop became a disastrous company that just made so many of its own sorts of boneheaded moves, and wound up now the guy in charge, Ryan Cohen, he has his own just kind of delusions of grandeur and visions of himself running eBay. He recently said, and in an interview with Bloomberg that I'll link in the show notes here, he recently said that that PlayStation's decision to kill discs is quote unquote irrelevant to his business, which I suppose is his business is trying to buy eBay and selling Funko collectibles or something like that. I don't know. But what happened was the gaming world.
No, that's legit. Like, he thinks that I saw I think it was an article. I think I posted it. Yeah. Where he was like, "Oh, the majority of the sales for GameStop, it doesn't come from like physical copies. It comes from like everything else, all the other stuff." And I'm just like, "Oh my god, are you for real right now? Are you for real? I don't know. Selling. I mean, I've seen the section. Okay, I've gone to my local GameStop, right? I've seen the section dedicated to that kind of stuff. Like the 75. No, that's not okay. Is it 75%? Well, does that count? Okay, half of the store, a great deal of the store is dedicated to like physical copies. There's an Xbox section, there's a Nintendo Switch section, and there's a PlayStation section, right? We don't so much have my local GameStop. They don't have a section dedicated to trying out games. Like they used to have back in the Super Nintendo, even PlayStation days. When you used to go into some GameStops, not all GameStops. I'm sorry, excuse me. Some GameStops, they would have a console right there, ready, like with a game like already loaded or something with like a demo disc or something, and then you could play the game on the spot before like you go and buy it. It was usually like the game that they were promoting or something. I especially remember this in the Nintendo 64. I remember going to Sears and seeing this with like the Super Nintendo and the there was this VR Nintendo headset that Nintendo had that I can't remember the name of right now, but I know what I'm talking about. So yeah, which by the way also demonstrates the importance of like demo discs and rent and game rentals. He doesn't go into rentals. I'm going to go into rentals because I think it's an important thing that should be discussed. That nobody's talking. I have had zero people talk about this. Let's go.
Well, as gaming customers, they moved to digital. And I've discussed in a previous video why the margins for these companies are so much higher on digital. It's a little bit complicated, of course. There's bandwidth costs and payment processor costs and all sorts of other things that are kind of factors there to consider. But for the most part, companies are making more money digitally than they are by going physically. And now we are just seeing the culmination of this. So what happened essentially was, the story here is essentially that these companies tried to kill used games, failed, tried again, failed, and then it just kind of accidentally happened because people just found that buying digitally was actually kind of convenient for them. And now we're in this world where the majority of games that are sold are done so digitally. I want to share a stat from one of the most informative analysts out there, a guy named Matt Piscatella, who works for the firm Circana, and he shared this stat just recently, which is that which is the number of physical units. So okay, so I'm going to read this from Matt Piscatella. He writes, 2 PlayStation video games sold more than 10,000 physical units in the US during the week ending July 11th, 2026. Two PlayStation video games sold more than 10,000 physical discs. 7 total have sold more than 100,000 physical units year to date. 7 games this year have sold more than 100,000 discs. Millions and millions of games sold, and 7 of them have sold more than 100,000 physical units, which I think
It's
speaks
something I
to
need to
what's
look up.
happened here, which is that the market has shifted. So, as I've said before, I personally am a big fan of libraries. Go support your local library. It bums me out that they will not be able to carry PlayStation discs moving forward. I think that it's really a shame that that people won't be able to trade in used games anymore in this kind of new digital future. I think it's going to hurt some people. Obviously, preservation and collection, there are a lot of issues that are associated with this transition, but it is something that was made based on pure math and pure numbers and the logic of seeing that the market has really shifted. There is a little bit of irony here, and of course, I think the consumer backlash to PlayStation's decision to sell discs, I think, is much louder even than the backlash to online passes was back in the day, which is also pretty crazy to see. I've said this before, but I still think it's wild. If you look at PlayStation's Twitter account, every single thing they've tweeted over the last however many weeks since they made that decision and made that announcement has been met by thousands and thousands of angry replies talking about this single issue, to the point where I wonder, like, if I was marketing a game with PlayStation and I had made some sort of arrangement with them or paid them for a marketing spot on the PlayStation blog and some social media promotion, is it kind of backfiring now because your big promotion for Blood of Dawnwalker or Wolverine or whatever else is now just going to be met by backlash from customers about the discs thing? So that's a whole nother problem that you have to worry about these days. But regardless, we are seeing a humongous customer backlash to it. Is it going to change anything? I don't know. It's beyond me to speculate about that sort of thing, but the market has undoubtedly shifted. So the video game industry, they tried to kill used games, couldn't pull it off, but now have actually done it. This has been in the works for a very long time, and this is kind of the end point of that particular saga. All right, that is that for this week's... No, I keep saying that. God, man, triple click habits have trained me into saying certain things. That is that for today's episode of One Take Schreier, and I'll see you all on Friday with a fun little story about an escapee from Amazon Games.
Okay, here's something that nobody's talking about that that should be brought up, right? The US game markets has dropped 21. Okay, he says what the exact thing that he says, right? The exact thing that he says is, let's play it back for a second. Let's play it back. He says,
show notes here, he recently said that that PlayStation's decision to kill discs is "quote unquote" irrelevant to his business, which I suppose is his business is trying to buy eBay and selling Funko collectibles or something like that. I don't know. But what happened was the gaming customers, they moved to digital, and I've discussed in a previous video why the margins for these companies are so much higher on digital. It's a little bit complicated, of course. There's bandwidth costs and payment process costs and all sorts of other things that are kind of factors there to consider. But for the most part, companies are making more money digitally than they are by going physically. And now we are just seeing the culmination of this. So what happened essentially was, the story here is essentially that these companies tried to kill used games, failed, tried again, failed, and then it just kind of accidentally happened because people just found that buying digitally was actually kind of convenient for them. And now we're in this world where the majority of games that are sold are done so digitally. I want to share a stat from one of the most informative analysts out there, a guy named Matt Piscatella, who works for the firm Circana, and he shared this stat just recently, which is that which is the number of physical units. So okay, so I'm gonna read this from Matt Piscatella. He writes, 2 PlayStation video games sold more than 10,000 physical units in the US during the week ending July 11th, 2026. Two PlayStation video games sold more than 10,000 physical discs. 7 total have sold more than 100,000 physical units year to date.
That's the statistic that he shares. It's a true statistic, right? Like, I'm not debating the statistic. We deal in statistics. We build factual statistics. That's fine. But it leaves out. There needs to be context to what he's saying, right? There needs to be context to what he's saying, and the context that is left out of this picture is the U.S. gaming market has dropped 21% in June as hardware sales sink. Right? He's saying that, again, the statistic he's saying is
video games sold more than 10,000. I-11 sold more than 10,000. Matt Piscatella, he writes, 2 PlayStation video games sold more than 10,000 physical units in the US during the week ending July 11th, 2026.
Two PlayStation video games sold less than 10,000 physical units in the U.S. during the week of June 11th, 2026. That's what he said. And
two PlayStation video games sold more than 10,000 physical discs. 7 total have sold more than 100,000 physical units year to date.
7 have sold more than 100,000 physical units year to date. But the U.S. market drops 2020. The months before, there's a statistic that shows that the U.S. gaming market has dropped 21%. People, this is not a reason to stop selling physical. People, right? There's another statistic. People they reported last year. Oh shit. 63% of okay, I need to show this to you. Like, I need to bring this up on this screen. Hold on, give me a second. This was one of these articles is from the problem. I don't have a Forbes subscription, so that's gonna be problematic. But right. U.S. market sinks 24% as the switch to low fades, right? That's from Forbes, but that's from Bloomberg, but I can't pull it up because I don't have a subscription to Bloomberg. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this link up from this outlet called Twisted Voxel, which is basically saying like the same thing, right? U.S. gaming market drops. Oh, this is showing on the screen. U.S. gaming market dropped 20% as hardware sinks 62%. U.S. estimated, yeah, like it's gone. The U.S. video game market generated estimated 4.495 billion in consumer spending during June 2026, marking a 21 year-on-year decline, according to the report that the guy that Jason is talking about. The research firm said the start was largely driven by comparisons with June 2025 when the Switch 2 recorded the biggest console launch in history. Right during the week, June performance total customer spend for 6 months of 26 reached 27.4492 billion, down just 1% compared with the same. Sorry, what can I read today? Just 1% compared with the same period last week. So there's been a steady decline, right? And the reason, so what they're basically doing is oh shit, I didn't need to minimize that. I still need that afterwards. What they're basically doing is that they're taking, they're not, this isn't because, this is such bullshit. This isn't because the market has chosen to fucking buy digital, right? Like, if people could buy physical, they would buy physical. People aren't buying, the market in general isn't making sales because, number one, everybody knows the state of the U.S. economy. Everybody knows the state of the U.S. economy. No one's going to buy shit. You know, people are going to choose, like, survival over video games because video games are a luxury. Duh. Number two, even if you're doing all right now, you might not have a game that you're particularly looking forward to getting to look forward to. You're just not, right? And they're trying their best to come up with something. That's why we have why do we have so many freaking remakes? It's because, like, people are preferring the older stuff than the new stuff that comes out, right? There people still want to play video games. It's just a really tight time right now. They're taking advantage of the downward trend of people buying video games less to then say, okay, so now we're just going to take away your physical copies. That's what they're doing. That is what they're doing. And I can go further into this. But you see, I've and that's how I, like, you can, that's my proof. That's the proof that I'm bringing to you, right? People are buying video games less anyways, right? I want to watch this video because a lot of peers, it's basically saying the same, something similar on her YouTube channel, but she adds a caveat, which I think is very important.
My channel is sponsored by Cook Unity, which means we'll have an ad from them somewhere in the middle of today's video.
I made this video that should be on screen somewhere right now back in February, and several hardware price hikes and a $1,000 Steam machine later, I knew this was coming. I just didn't think it would be this fast. That's what she said. But today, let's specifically talk about PlayStation and why they just did something that everyone hates, that they knew we would all hate, the enormous public backlash that has come from that, and why none of that backlash, no amount of public outrage or petitioning, will be able to change it. In case you missed it, PlayStation announced that they are ending physical disc production via a post on the PlayStation blog.
I want to add that the reason why they're not going to change it isn't because, like, people don't want it. It's because of what Jason mentioned earlier, which was they want to get rid of used game sales. That's the reason why. Let's continue.
It reads, as consumer preferences and the broader entertainment industry continue to shift away from physical discs to digital, physical game disc production for all new games releasing on PlayStation consoles will be discontinued starting January 2028. Following this date, new games will be available on PlayStation Store and at retailers in digital formats only. This is a natural direction for Sony Interactive Entertainment to adapt to consumer trends as the general preference for digital media significantly outpaces physical discs. This transition will enable us to align more closely with how most of our community prefers to access and play games yesterday. On the exact same day, they also announced an update on the PlayStation Store for the PS3 and PS Vita. The second blog post reads, after nearly 2 decades of supporting the PS3 console generation, we wanted to let you know we will be closing the PlayStation Store on PS3 as well as on PS Vita. PlayStation Store on PS3 will close in select markets starting this year, followed by global closures for the PS3 and PS Vita next year. That means new content purchases will no longer be possible once the PlayStation Store closes on these devices. Truly a double hit.
I'm gonna finish. I'm gonna let her finish. If they made more people to prove that like people they're not making things that people are interested in. Claire Obscure Expedition 33 has won multiple awards, and everybody fucking loves that game. It is a well-made, well-written fun RPG. Remember when they were telling us that like people weren't interested in turn-based games anymore? It's a mature, well-written RPG that sold. I'm pretty sure it would sell even better if people had money to buy the freaking game. And I'm pretty sure plenty of people would love to buy a physical copy of that. I would like to own a physical copy of that game. That would be fucking fantastic. PC copy, preferably. I'm just gonna pick it up on GOG though. So yeah.
On game preservation efforts, and I'm not going to talk about the various negatives here for too long, because I figure surely if you're interested in this topic, you've already seen the various reasons that it sucks real bad, discussed extensively. I'm aware I'm late to this topic. Okay, I have to read through like 300 pages of earnings reports and investor statements to make these videos. It takes me a really long time, and YouTube's not my main job. It's not even technically my second job, so I'm always late, and I'm sorry. Give me a break. But I do want to quickly highlight some of them before we get into why they did this thing that we all hate and don't even care that we hate it, that's slightly more complex than people seem to think. Obviously, Sony is not wrong in saying that their customers are largely buying digital. Their last report says that only 3% of the company's sales are attributed to physical hardware. Physical game sales are down across the board. This is what people are voting for with their wallets, but at the same time, I just want to point out 3% is still a lot of people. That is millions of people. A study from the ERA, which is the digital
The percentage of people that are buying video games. To my point earlier.
Entertainment and Retail Association actually found that 25% of people under 25 still buy physical discs. But even if you aren't one of those people, there is still a bunch of ongoing kind of quiet value in physical distribution for Sony's customers. For one, of course, games that are delisted for any reason, this often happens when licenses for certain brands or music expire, will just no longer be accessible at all if we can't at least get physical versions. Not only may this include things that you have paid full price for, which is so anti-consumer that I don't understand how it's allowed, it's also just, I don't know, really sad to me in a way. Like, there might be games that you love, that you would love to share with people that you love, that could just be erased from existence. People who spent years and years and years of their lives working on these games may never be able to show them to their children. It's just, I don't know, not being able to share art that you love feels exceptionally soulless, so there's that. Sony actually does have a history of doing this as well. They recently delisted a long list of low-quality AI games, which, to be clear, is a move I'm actually in favor of, considering these are basically scams, but they've also done it with video content numerous times, taking down films and TV series that people may have paid full price for when licenses expired. It is something the industry does. It sucks. It's worse without physical even being a backup option. I would like to state here though, just among like a lot of the noise that I'm seeing, while this already always sucks, frequency of this has no reason to increase because of this decision. Sony does want games to remain available for purchase so they can keep getting their 30% cut from third-party publishers and indies, unless there is some legal reason that they can no longer sell them. I don't think it's going to get worse as a result of this announcement. Basically, still sucks. But before we get to my actual biggest concern, I just want to mention there are also the many, many people who depend on the secondhand game market to actually take part in the hobby. I know that this side of the business is shrinking quite rapidly, but it is legitimately impactful for those who depend on it. I traded in almost every single game I played as a teenager, and I exclusively bought physical pre-owned copies because it's all I could afford with my like tiny McDonald's salary. Without that system, the hobby would have been very close to inaccessible to me. I genuinely cannot imagine how different my life would be if I couldn't buy pre-owned games as a kid. It's just really sad to think about. But yes, my actual biggest real concern is monopoly. PlayStation are removing competitors, being that this is obviously leading to the removal of physical disc drive to the PS6 entirely. They're making it so that every PlayStation game that you buy from PlayStation. This doesn't happen on PC. If you're not happy with Steam or you want to look for a sale, there are several other stores available. PlayStation have already been A/B pricing
Stores and websites that help track discounts when they happen in those stores.
as well since November of 2025. This is where different people in the same region are shown 2 different prices so Sony can see which one sells more and then adjust prices accordingly. According to psprices.com, they did this with over 190 games in 70 plus regions, but it was actually largely focused on discounts, as in seeing if a discount would make people buy a game significantly more. This can easily lead to dynamic pricing though, where they realize some people might spend more for something than others and thus inflate their prices for that specific user based on their data. And I think just especially with Xbox making themselves less and less competitive as a platform, this just woof. Turns out, healthily competing console manufacturers actually very good for consumers, and wanting one of them to win over the other was in fact always really fucking stupid. Obviously, I'm not alone in feeling extremely negatively about this. There has been a ton of backlash that sadly I just do not think is going to work. We'll get to that right after this word from today's sponsor.
Nope,
It is
it's not
time
gonna
to
work.
talk about Cook Unity. Cook Unity is a chef-to-you meal unity. Has changed all that. The touch I really love, they even tell you which
Incredible and a possible.
goes on directly come out opposing Sony's choice here. I am 8-bit Atari in the description below and use my code Alana50 to try it out. Thank you to Cook Unity for sponsoring the video. Now back to the video. So, a bunch of companies have directly come out opposing Sony's choice here. I am 8-bit Atari, Lost in Cult, Limited Run Games. Even Hideo Kojima said he was really sad. Won't somebody think of Hideo? The Video Game History Foundation specifically issued a statement touching on how this has been a losing battle for them for many, many years. It reads, "If platform owners are deciding to eliminate physical media and older digital storefronts, then we'd also like to see trade groups like the Entertainment Software Association offer meaningful solutions for archives and museums to legally preserve digital-only content and make it accessible for research. Everyone agrees this is a serious problem, but the ESA has repeatedly opposed the efforts of cultural heritage institutions to reform digital copy protection laws to make it easier to do this work. The industry needs to meaningfully come together to the table on this issue, because asking museums to download a copy of Grand Theft Auto 6 and hope that it'll run in 50 years is not a preservation solution." Which, yes, totally agree. There are also a number of organizations that are actively preparing lawsuits. The Dutch nonprofit has filed a 400 million euro class
Not
action
pronouncing
suing
that.
Sony,
Not
specifically
pronouncing
arguing that
that.
eliminating discs removes competition, thus enabling what they call the Sony tax, which is the 30% sales commission I mentioned earlier. Their
I
intent
hope
is
they
to build
win.
on top of previous lawsuits Sony has already faced in the UK. There's a £2 billion class action lawsuit called PlayStation You Owe Us that's going to trial this year. That is also specifically targeting Sony's 30% cut and their monopoly on digital pricing. And there is a US case called PSN Digital Game Settlement, in which Sony has already agreed to pay $7.85 million to resolve antitrust claims in the digital game market. So it's not just public backlash, it's also legal, professional backlash in an area that they've already been very heavily scrutinized. Obviously, we don't know how these cases will go. I did initially have some hope that the European Union, who are generally pretty good about helping with consumer protections, might be able to stop this. Worth noting, they were not able to help with the recent Stop Killing Games movement, which was very expected, but admittedly still a huge bummer. But they have had some successes in giant regulatory battles against Apple, in which the EU posits that Apple has been acting as a gatekeeper regarding a number of facets of their digital sales. Sadly, an EU commissioner told the European Parliament earlier this week that there isn't anything they can do about this particular one. The commissioner said, "It does come down to commercial and contractual freedoms, and companies are free to offer games and services in the manner that they see fit, provided that consumer rights are fully protected in line with national and EU law." There is also a change.org petition up currently at the time that I'm filming this, just over 300,000 signatures. I'll leave a link to that in the description if you would like to sign it, though again, I do not think petitioning and public backlash will work here at all. That's no reason not to do it, but Sony already knew everyone would be pissed off. They knew this. People working at PlayStation first-party studios told me that Sony had the strictest social media guidelines for this particular thing that they've ever seen issued. Sony does somewhat regularly tell employees what they can or can't say about certain things. I was under a lot of guidelines when I was working on God of War Lao Fei. I still am. And they did send me guidelines regarding what I could say on the day that the game was announced. But in this instance, it is apparently the strictest the employees I spoke to have ever seen regarding public communications. They would only have done this if they knew it was going to be an enormous PR issue. This is no surprise to them. So why
Put a pin on that. Remember that. It's insanely important.
is it worth it? While Sony obviously do get a bigger cut when you buy something from them directly, they don't have to eat the costs of physical production and distribution for something that they sell for the same amount. So they make about 50% more revenue from a game they sell digitally. Digital sales are already up and consistently growing in market share versus physical. They didn't really need to force the market on this one. And while direct revenue is great, yay for making more money, it is not an insignificant amount of money. This is just about so much more than that. It's about future-proofing and Sony's current long-term strategy. It is especially important that they show investors right now that they are working real hard on this long-term strat because Sony's in a kind of dire spot. They've been down by about 19% on the stock market. To be totally clear, I always want to shout this kind of thing from the rooftops when it comes to conversations about the games industry failing or whatever. Sony's games division is very financially healthy. They are very profitable. They had a great year in terms of sales. They had a company record operating income of 463.3 billion yen for the last financial year. That's a 12% year-on-year increase and their highest annual revenue ever. They are making a lot of money. Their games are still selling, but on the stock market, they are down by about 19%. This is bad. Obviously, the entire games industry is struggling on the stock market right now for a number of reasons. I have a super extensive video about that up on my channel already. If you would like to watch it, I'll leave a link in the description. And there are three very big parts of that directly influence PlayStation. The first is not really solvable. That is the mature market problem. Mature market is what investors call any industry that is past its rapid growth phase. This basically means that vast majority of potential customers are already using the product. There aren't any more would-be gamers for the industry to recruit, so there's no more obvious growth to be had, thus investors are pivoting to industries that do have more obvious opportunities for growth, like AI. There is very little solution to this particular problem. Without inventing some insane new version of like microtransactions, there's nothing that the games industry can really do about this one. The other two, which are the chip shortage and engagement hours, are a bit more solvable, and the diskless future contributes here. I mean, after the announcement was made, Sony's stocks climbed by 7%. It was, despite all of our outrage, a significant success. A success that is, again, much larger than just some extra revenue from an already dying part of the industry. Then why did this announcement work so well? Let's start with the chip shortage problem, and the solution here is probably not actually what you think. In case you missed my earlier videos about this, the next generation of consoles, of computer game hardware in general, is in a ton of trouble because they need computer chips, and the AI industry is buying up all of said chips in order to put them in data centers. Because supplies are so limited, and Sony and Nintendo specifically have not presented strong enough answers to this obvious problem, they are getting pushback from shareholders. Investors are concerned about their ability to navigate the shortage with hardware manufacturing going forward. So am I. This hardware has...
By the way, shareholders are the type of people that are only interested in short-term profits. They've never... There's the one of the major flaws about the stock market is that a lot of shareholders are only interested in the immediate returns that you can give them. They are never interested in what's good in the long term, right? There's the reason why, for example, like indie games can make people can make beautiful, awesome indie games that blow like the AAA industry completely out the water. But like the AAA industry can only make basically shovelware. Like they'll print Call of Duty for as long as Call of Duty like it's just a free money grab. Like it's no tomorrow. They'll just churn that shit out because it's an easy money grab and it makes the shareholders happy. That's the reason fucking why, right? That's the reason why Bobby Kotick fucked over Blizzard the way he did.
Become so egregiously expensive that there is no way the PS6 can come in under $1,000, especially with Sony coming out and saying they don't want to operate at a loss. How do you fix this problem? Well, you could shut down your disc manufacturing plant, which was making about 600,000 discs per day, and turn it into an optical microlens fabricating facility. You know what they use optical microlenses for? AI data centers. Sony has invested 30 million EU in this project. Stock market go yay! Sony also recently announced a joint venture with TSMC, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing, who is the world's largest contract chip maker. It is considered a critical supplier for AI accelerators. This doesn't necessarily solve the chip shortage problem insofar as PlayStation specifically are concerned, but it does show investors that Sony is in the game in a position to profit from the huge demand for chip production, rather than just in a position to lose money because they can't manufacture consoles as easily anymore. They have also come forward, like every other company in the goddamn space, and spoken about their plans to integrate generative AI into game development. You know how I mentioned the mature market problem earlier? Mentioning Gen AI is one small appeasement for this. You get to tell investors you're working with this new tech that changes everything. We don't even know the limits of this amazing new tech and what it might do for our games. The future is limitless. It's not, it sucks ass. Every game developer I know absolutely hates it, but stock market, again, go yay! Second problem, engagement. Right now, every entertainment industry is competing with social media in terms of user engagement and losing to...
Still waiting for that bubble to pop up. Still waiting for it.
TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube Reels. These things are all designed to keep you watching for as long as possible, and that's time people are spending not playing video games. The games industry needs to win that time back, and with that, investor confidence. This is a huge focus for PlayStation. Looking through their reports, they...
I'm actually convinced that not all those people that are on social media, I know they're saying like social media as like competition to video games, but I'm also not entirely convinced that every single person that's on social media also plays video games. It's not like the Venn diagram. I think it's a fallacy that the Venn diagram between people who are on social media and people who play video games is like the same circle. I don't believe that at all. It's never like that. There are cases where it is practically like that, but I don't think social media is one of them. There are people who have probably never picked up a video game but I probably use social media, right? And even if they use social media, you know how I also know this? It's because not every person, like there used to be a video game on Facebook, because Facebook used to have that sort of thing. You used to have browser games. That's called Farmville. Ask your local millennial about Farmville. There used to be tons of people on Facebook that used to play Farmville. Farmville literally revitalized and people's interest in games that's basically Stardew Valley and cozy games, right? It started with games like cozy games have always been around, but Farmville reminded people that Harvest Moon existed and Harvest Moon was still awesome. So, but here's the thing about that, and to my point, not every single motherfucker that was on Facebook played Farmville. Most of the people that I knew played Farmville, but it wasn't one-to-one. It wasn't a perfect circle. Plenty of people didn't play Farmville. So I get where they're coming from, saying that like it has some people's attention in order to try to grab as much as an audience as possible, but it's not a perfect one-to-one diagram. I think that's false.
Are laser focused on monthly active users and total gameplay hours. They have openly told investors they're committed to making live service games even after failures like Concord. They canceled PC ports. They've made a lot of decisions people hate because they're all chasing the same thing, keeping players inside of the PlayStation ecosystem for as
actually, I'm gonna
long as possible. Getting rid of the part where the consumer goes to the store to buy a physical disc contributes to that. More time for PlayStation. There can only be PlayStation. In sort of optimistic news, even with their doubling down on live service games, PlayStation does still have a huge commitment to high-quality single-player games. Not only do their single-player games coax people into that ecosystem, it's also just building up the multimedia aspect of the brand. They are very happy with their film and TV adaptation stuff and are also investing tons in music right now, which is very indicative of where I think we're headed. You remember that Don Matrick Xbox E3 conference everyone hated?
Introducing Xbox One. TV, TV and movies, TV, TV, TV.
I think that's exactly what Sony is trying to do right now. Their long-term strat is to turn PlayStation Plus into a service that gives you access to TV, movies, music, and of course, video games. All PlayStation, all the time. In fact, even though they posted that cute little video of them passing the disc, which, man, did that age poorly?
This is how you share your games on PS4.
Thanks.
I'm quite sure Sony execs would have loved to do this back then. It feels like the games industry has just been waiting for us to be okay with it, to be more on board with an all-digital, all-subscription service future. This is, of course, also a direct path to the inevitable cloud streaming focus, where we stream games from a much smaller PlayStation box or from an app or something. Same shit Microsoft has been trying to do with their This Is an Xbox program, which gamers also hated. I actually don't doubt that Sony's PR and marketing teams might have wanted to wait a little longer before having to drop this news. I think they figured that consumers would get more and more comfortable with digital only, with subscriptions, with cloud streaming, and that we would eventually just wholly accept this future without any pushback. And we're actually kind of not that far off. Obviously, socially, there's plenty of pushback, but I do think that people are pretty financially accepting of this. I hope that I am wrong. I would love to go back to the era where I put a disc in and it played a video game without any downloads, Jesus Christ. But I actually don't think that Sony will see consumer spending go down as a result of this news.
He might be entirely, I think she's like 90% right about this. But there is an avenue that a business could take where there is an avenue that a business could take where they can bring back physical copies, and people will probably flock to it and fall in love with them because of the shitty decision making that they make.
People are financially supportive of this. People are largely buying games digitally, even if they say physical means a lot to them. So it's kind of.
I'm just gonna call it. I think the people that she's talking about, mostly based on what I've already mentioned, are whales. It's the same people, right? It's the same people that buy the Nan skin in Overwatch. It's the same people that buy overpriced skins on League of Legends. It's the same people that will probably that cost another video game. It's the same type of people. I think those type of people. Because it's the only type of people that right now that's actually buying video games. To my point earlier, right? I think those people are comfortable buying only digital copies of their video game. That's what I think. I think it's the whales. I think it's always been the whales. And they're trying to convince people that it's everybody. And it's not. And it's not, because people aren't buying video games because, number one, you're not making the type of video games people like, right? You're the type of video games that people would actually be interested in. They aren't making them right now. You know, there's a demand for a certain type of video game, and it hasn't materialized it's materialized somewhat, Expedition 33, but it hasn't materialized in large quantities that people will pay for it. And number two, people aren't interested in video games right now anyways. It's a luxury. People want to be able to have a roof over their house and to afford food. That's what I think.
Of like, considering the state of things on the stock market and the beginning of a new financial year and the lead up to new consoles in this PlayStation Plus ecosystem, I suspect they're going to start to unveil at some point. They made
the stats aren't lying. I just don't think they're
I'll let it pull the plug. It's kind of like, well, it's as good a time as any to do this thing we've probably been wanting to do for a decade. Fuck it. Let them be mad. And let me be very clear. Explaining the business logic behind this does not mean that I agree with it. I don't. I hate it. But understanding why they're doing this is important because it explains why no amount of public backlash can change it. Sony believes this is necessary for its long-term strategy, and investors rewarded it the moment it became public. Which is the part where I tap the sign. The games industry's real customer is the stock market, not the gamer.
Oh, yeah, she's right about that. Yeah, I just think that the I respect your take. Everything they're saying, for the most part, is true. I just think that the people who are making the business decisions, in the background, are have made the wrong decision, and it's just based off of, to her point, the revenues that they need to make right now. Back to that thing I told you to put a bid in. The fact that they're telling people within their company to shut up is very telling. It means it's, companies know how to play PR messaging. They know how to play marketing. They know how to speak to people, and they know they're gonna tell you, they're telling you certain things in order for you to buy into it. There are certain things that they won't tell you, and part of that is the stuff that I again brought up. I'm certain that the reason though why they're telling so many people to shut up about this and let the backlash happen is because they know that they are taking advantage of the moment, in which people just aren't able to buy video games right now. With that said, let me see if I can pull this up real quick. La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la. See if I can buy. And I don't want to just. Okay, so it was GameStop. That. Not GameStop. GameSpot. Don't get me wrong. If a company wants to make money out of digital sales, let them make money out of digital sales. Give people a choice. You know what I'm saying? But don't lie to people. With that said, Sega has said, why isn't this coming up? Oh, it's because I put it on the wrong screen. Sega. Whoa. Sega has said this. Last console that Sega has made was Dreamcast. Right? Sega's sticking with cultural with physical media. Right? They would like to stick. They still value the culture of physical media. That includes the sharing of games and the like sharing your game with somebody else gives people the opportunity. Like it's its own type of marketing, right? If there's a game that's really good that you want somebody to try out, just give them the physical copy of the game. Just give them a copy of the fucking game. I once had the opportunity. Somebody once gave me a copy of Smash Brothers just to try out. I never get. I didn't. I wanted to buy a Wii at the time. I never got around to doing it. But that's what they did. I could easily see somebody that had a console, be given that game. It's like it's like they want to pass up free marketing. And so this would be a good time, if Sega, because Sega isn't the company that they once were back in the day, but if Sega did want to get back into the game, because they know how to do it, and they know how to go about it. If Sega wanted to get back into the game, they would just have to wait until there was a period where people actually regain the buying power necessary to be able to buy consoles and buy physical media again. They would just have to wait for it, and then they would just have to test the market to see that people were ready for it, and then they could come back and be a competitor again against Sony, against Nintendo, against Microsoft. They could totally do that because of their bullshit that they're on, right? If they, well, it's mostly Sony and Nintendo. If they want to get rid of physical media, let them. And then Sega, because it's Blu-ray technology is already out there, right? It already exists. And so Sega can come back with something, try to figure it out. I'm not entirely convinced that, I know all these companies are saying they're not going to drop the price of, like the hardware components, but like at the same time, if Sega ever made a new console, I would say try to find a competitor who's interested in selling computer parts at a cheaper price when it comes around, because the AI bubble is going to pop eventually, and it's going to be at a loss, and one day people aren't going to be as eager to buy computer hardware components anymore. There's not going to be anybody to buy them because they fucked over the consumers that their traditional consumer base that originally bought the computer parts, and AI is not going to be as valuable, right? AI definitely still has a future. Don't get me wrong, AI still has a future, but it's not the type of but all this investment that they're putting in, it ain't it, right? Yeah, so so if Sega wanted to get back into the game, there is an opportunity on the frontier for them. They would just have to find the right way to do it, and they can do it because nobody will shut. It's been how many years since the Dreamcast came out? We're just gonna use AI for this one to get it like. Since 1999. It's been 27 years since the Dreamcast came out. 27 fucking years. And people still won't shut up about like how awesome the Dreamcast was. And they're right, because the Dreamcast was awesome for its time. So Sega could definitely pull it off. And mop the floor with all these other motherfuckers if they wanted to, right? If they wanted to. It's an opportunity. And I would totally hope that Sega will take it. I would totally hope. Like, please, Sega, do this if you can. It's probably not going to happen, but I'm just saying, this would be awesome if it happened. This would be awesome if it happened. That's all I'm saying. All right, I'm done. But yeah. So yeah, that's all I want to say on that. Yeah, they know what they're doing. They know what they know. They know. That's why they're telling everybody to shut the fuck up, because like it's they're not giving the complete picture. They're not. The market, the group of people that used to buy their games aren't buying them now. The reason why they're not buying them now is because the market sucks right now. People don't have room to buy luxury goods right at the moment. Right, the market has shrunk, rightfully so. And so I don't look at my as I'm talking to you, I'm looking at my Spotify information because Spotify recently told me that I could change information, and now I'm looking at how to do it. Okay. So um yeah, so they're not telling people the complete picture. It's not because of people's wallets are speaking. It's not it, because the majority of people, 63, what was it, 63 or 60% of the people aren't buying video games right now. That usually buy video games in the market. The market has shrunk, right, since June of this year, right? June of this year. Yeah, the market has shrunk from June of this year, and the people that are buying video games right now and they're buying them digitally are whales. They can afford to buy like if they ever lose their control of their games, they can afford that. They'll be fine. They'll be fine. They'll be perfectly fine. It's whales. It's the whales. It's the whales. It's the people that have the money, the mucho money. That's the reason why this is happening. It's not. People are like, oh, they're voting for that. Fuck you. There's not. That's not the reason why. You're lying. Shut the fuck up. They think we're stupid. That's what they think. They think we're stupid. They think we're stupid. That's what it is. They didn't think I was going to pull up an article saying that the market shrunk and people aren't buying games. They think we're stupid. They think we're stupid. Oh, I forgot to bring up one other thing. I'm firing up this video game as I'm doing this, but I forgot one other thing. They think we're stupid. If you are still interested in physical copies of games, right? In the meanwhile, if you just want to get a taste, oh yeah, so Jason Schaefer didn't talk about game rentals. That's the one thing that he didn't bring up. He didn't bring up game rentals. And that was the thing. Blockbuster used to, I've mentioned this before. Blockbuster used to sell, I probably haven't mentioned it on stream though. Blockbuster used to allow people to rent games. Probably another practice that now that I think about it, probably another practice that game companies hated, because game companies probably do not get revenue off of rentals. They get revenues off of sales. And so there used to be a service that allowed you at Blockbuster to rent your games before they buy them. That doesn't exist anymore. But you know what exists? Gamefly exists. I'm going to be pitching to you Gamefly. Gamefly allows you to, for a subscription for a price, allows you to rent movies and games, right? Allows you to rent movies and games. And if you like your movie or your game, you can keep it for a price. It's the same shit. It's actually the same thing. Both Blockbuster and Netflix used to do. And Netflix didn't used to allow you to rent games, but it used to allow you to rent copies, like the actual physical disc. And if you like it, you can keep it. I don't see anybody talking about this, about how they're allowing you to still do this. But it's out there and it exists, and you could try it. Probably after physical's going away, you could probably still rent movies from Gamefly. Maybe they'll change their name while they're at it after physical copies go away. But I digress. Somebody still gets the plot. It's still out there. So hopefully, after all this is said and done, Gamefly will still exist, and we'll still have good things in the world. I'll be right back. I gotta use it, and then we gotta jump into it. I'm back. Oh, what I need to do? I need to change the stream title. Is this where I'm on? Did I beat this? No, I didn't. Of course I didn't. Else why would I be here? I want to make sure I'm coming in all right.
He's become a rather interesting lab assistant, though his indiscriminate appetite is a bit of a hindrance. I was bored all day and decided to play a game of catch with myself, utilizing the slow motion dimension. You should try it sometime.
Came to me in a dream.
Ah, and here you see stately quadrangle manor as it stands now. As you can see, I've made some, well, modifications over the years to accommodate my many experiments. You may have... pipes keeping the radioactive fluids running through the manor from flooding the living quarters.
Be concerned.
I believe that's safe number 21,157. Didn't your mother teach you not to chew with your mouth open? You might want to use something other than your thick skull. That'll do.
About this game. I don't know why I didn't biz.
I'm looking at a gigantic stack of cell phones.
Damn, it's remarkable now I think about it. It's a nice little puzzle here. That's not Portal, you know?
It is abhorrent what you young folks text to one another. Is English truly that difficult?
Of course it is. You know that. English is atrocious. Everybody in the world thinks this. Everybody. Especially when they're trying to learn it. I'm just making jokes. These are jokes. But
Those
sure,
bot-bots are programmed not to let any non-organic foreign objects pass. Oh, I believe there's a heavy IDS battery across the scaffolding there.
I don't get it.
Foreign objects like that.
Pretty quick with it too. That would mean no! God damn it. That's
Those bot-bots are programmed not to let any non-organic foreign objects pass.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, I believe there's a heavy IDS battery across the scaffolding there.
Airtime. Damn straight.
I can invent a glove that completely changes the laws of quantum mechanics. But apparently, I cannot stream a movie to where I am right now in spite of the multitude of cell phones.
That's not your specialty, man. What are you talking about? That's my specialty. That's your lane. You're good at it. It's like you said. Why would you want to change that?
Apparently, this unit also needs a bit of tweaking. Have a safe flight. I'm not entirely convinced of your aptitude to handle this situation.
Doing it so far. What's your problem?
Oh, well, that was a pleasant surprise.
Thank you for calling me stupid. What the fuck? Holy shit. Bro, what? That's actually hilarious.
Ah, judging by the fascinating lands of missing items, I can hypothesize that I am officially lost. Short-term memory gone, trapped in some sort of pocket dimension. Today is a good day. This used to be one of the manor's libraries. I, altered it.
Oh, only short-term memory is gone. Maybe still remember shit. This music kind of reminds me of Alice in Wonderland. Sorry, Atlas Madness Returns.
Travel safely.
I swear he's doing this on purpose. To kill me. Why would he do this? Otherwise.
What's that saying? It's like wrangling cats.
Never expire? Of course. That's that's how Michael Jordan felt like. He was winning championships after championships. See if I can stack these and that'll work. You've thrown that one. Probably a faster way, but simple solutions first, huh? Kind of silly. It's probably a faster way, but I don't want to think about that right now. I just want the simplest, stupidest solution. And that's okay with me. That's fine. It's just that type of day. There's probably going to be harder puzzles along the way anyways. Why make my life easier? I mean harder. Work smarter, not harder. And that's the principle I'm going by right now. You could do both, but not right now. that's interesting. I cannot stand on them, even if I wanted to. Okay. Wait, so why would I need them? Maybe I have it wrong. Back in there. I don't need you. Wait, same though. What is that? I'm just guessing at this point, aren't I? Yep, I was just guessing. Okay. We're just gonna fire up another one. I have another better idea. I'm stupid. I gotta try it again. Damn it, I still didn't reach it. Really? gonna try to see if I can get her over there. Stacking boxes or anything. Fuck, I keep missing my jump. There we go. Yeah. Can I clear it? Oh, I can. Oh, okay. Looks like much easier then. Just don't knock it over. Set up fucking
I had this portrait of myself and Ike commissioned before we began time travel in the mid-70s. Time traveling was certainly all the rage back then, at least among the more scientific circles. One of our colleagues used to throw the most amazing costume parties, and you know you just can't beat the real thing.
traveling is very dangerous. I know that.
Do you know that the only legal way to hunt tigers is to travel back in time to do it? Not that I would recommend doing as such. Interestingly enough, I have a hypothesis that the only reason tigers are about to go extinct is because people are going back in time and shooting them.
Like yourself. That's against you.
I made the first prototype when I was your age. I haven't had the heart to change the design.
What the fuck?
That portrait is my great-uncle, Worthington Blunderbuss Quadrangle. He had a particular fondness for the enormous, probably why he was so interested in Africa. Big game there, he said. It was painted right before he left. Unfortunately, he never came back. There should be an IDS battery on the other side of the fan.
He's gonna kill me. Yeah, why do I need this one? Oh, I see.
It's like having your own personal zoo. Children like zoos, right?
Yeah.
Who knew that falling could be such a peaceful experience? Our time travels took us to feudal Japan, where they took a rather strong liking to Ike. I hope introducing them to a small, cute, fluffy creature somehow didn't alter the present. Ah, there's a ninja in this painting. You just can't see him.
Funny. He literally could have like fucked up time by introducing the Ike. But whatever. It's a funny joke.
Ike and I traveled back in time once to find the fabled lost city of gold. We never did find it, and to be honest, the lost cities of bronze and silver really weren't that impressive. Could have been worse, I suppose.
It wasn't El Dorado? Sorry, it wasn't the Aztecs village? They're full of gold. Not to believe it. And the city of Atlantis. That's in space.
You really ought to stay out of their way. Keep an eye on that activation beam.
just use one of these.
There are clouds here. Have I mentioned that?
Here in the house.
Though, wait. Is that lint? Ugh.
Wait, there are clouds in his dimension? How are there clouds there? What the heck?
Apparently, you feel you don't need an advanced degree in robotics to operate that. It's the compression platform again. Remember that you need a dramatic mass change, right? Well, I suppose you could see how I got that one up there. He's always been a fan of the compression platforms.
Really? What's that saying about daylight savings time? Fall back, spring forward? Clock, I see.
Personally, I think daylight savings is absolutely useless and ludicrous, right?
Aren't you a scientist? You know that's not true. You know that's not true at all. Why would you say something like that? Unless you're not that smart.
got to be kidding me. Gum? Oh, there's some on my shoe. This area is extremely flooded. What's going on here?
I fucked up. Of course I did. No. God damn it. Can I still catch it? Oh, I'm dead. That's that. Oh, I can actually. Damn it. Got it. I'm still waiting. That was too early.
That could have been much, much worse.
Tell me about it.
Once I traveled back to a time when people were more refined, classier even. Top hats and monocles and all that. Of course, we found that people only looked classier. A lack of running water and proper hygiene meant that everyone smelled terrible.
Yep. I mean, it wasn't like that even before then? Whoa. Sorry. You went to other time periods. People had worse back then. They didn't have running water in all those other time periods either. Well, I still get what you said.
You know, the best part about traveling in the future is coming back with the clothes and going to sci-fi conventions. You know, in the future, they still don't have flying cars. I'll have to add that to my list of inventions that I must construct when I get out of wherever I am right now.
I don't think they don't have flying cars because they don't want flying cars. I think they don't have flying cars because flying cars might actually be in practice. It's a good idea. It's good to fantasize it about, but not sure about the execution. Could be wrong though. Could be completely wrong about that. Let's see if we're going for like how the Jetsons do it.
Ah, yes. There's an electric converter up there. Ike has very interesting nutritional requirements. Steel ball bearings, asparagus, uranium-235. Whatever he has a craving for, I suppose.
That was cool. I know that was a long drop, but like, I'm wrong, so.
And go! It looks like something is malfunctioning. So you'll have to provide your own forward momentum while you're up there. Throw!
Yeah, but why am I throwing? Oh, I see.
Go, kid, go! Throw!
No, 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 no.
Quick, now!
Damn. Okay. I know exactly what I need to do. It's just my time. So dumb.
Quick, now! Throw! And go! Throw!
Am I still alive? Okay, good. Ah, God. Why am I so bad? I will get it eventually.
Quick, now! Throw!
I'm panicking. I'm panicking. I need to stay calm. I need to stay calm.
Go, kid, go! Throw!
I didn't hit the jump button in time. Not even immediately.
Quick, now! Throw!
How many times am I going to pick this up?
Go, go, go!
Come on.
Throw!
Come on. Okay. Please, please. Ah, I get it. We're gonna get it. Okay, we're gonna get it. Don't worry.
Quick, now! Throw!
Oh my God! I hit jump. I hit jump. I did. I think I did. I'm pretty sure I did. Oh my gosh! It's physics-based puzzler. It's physics-based puzzler. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, all right then.
Oh, shut up. It's not you. Wait, how do you use that? Oh, it's in metal. Oh, that's funny.
Haven't you been through this hallway before?
Yes, actually. You're right.
Ugh. These hallways are all starting to look the same to me.
Yeah, I agree. It's your design, so I don't know what to do about it. I can't do anything about it. Horse. A horse, of course. Norse. You look for it. That bird. Why is it so bright? Brilliant.
Dodecahedron. Try saying that 3 times fast. Dodecahedron, dodecahedron, dodecahedron.
Wait, so what's the solution to this? This isn't obvious. What? Hey guys, hold up. What the fuck?
Mike just sent me a message through the security uplink. He found your luggage in the front hall and would like to apologize for eating your pants. Oh.
Pretty sure my hands sound delicious. What? Stop. We've done this already. I know this works. You're just being stupid. Can I just ride it? Okay, fine, whatever. I'm just gonna move on.
Well, that's a step up.
Shut up. Oh, well. Yes, you and your puns. It's very punny. I get it. I'm gonna die for it, that's for sure. You're gonna fry me if I hit this button. What the fuck just happened? The blueprint. Oh, I'm so dumb.
Not entirely sure why I left that here. I'm pretty sure you'll be able to get that battery. Somehow. The IDS battery receptacle is where? That's moving at a fairly high velocity. Perhaps you could find a better location to get to it.
That was too easy. Nope, that. Nope, it couldn't give it to me. That was just too easy.
Another reason why I've installed the dolly devices everywhere is to help counteract Ike's never-ending chasm of a stomach.
Good idea of the battery. It's up there. Where is it? Oh, duh. I'm so dumb. Doesn't need to be perfect. Oh god. Okay, so. Oh. Got it. Faster.
That's moving at a fairly high velocity. Perhaps you could find a better location to get to it. Sometimes my sister is far too nosy. If I wanted house guests, I would have asked for them. Not only do I have to worry about myself, I am obligated to have concern for you too.
Doing a very good job at it since I almost died like a bajillion times. That's demonstrated when I died a bajillion times. Okay, I'm getting hungry, so I'm gonna end the stream. Like what you see, please follow, subscribe on YouTube and Twitch. Happy Saturday, everybody. Goodbye.